So I pulled the 3 card, which is the past, present, and future cards, basically. It's like on the left here, this is the past. No, actually no. There you go. The first card was patience, which describes the past. Then the present is upheaval, which I'm like, okay, that checks out. Cool, great. And
you should swap the visual, by the way.
Oh, is it not? Oh yeah, I should. There's that. Yeah, you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. There.
Okay, so the card on the left is what you pull from the past.
Yeah, this is for the past. So this is patience, bobcat, and blackthorn. I'm like, okay.
And what does that read exactly?
What it reads exactly. That's a good one. I've actually not gotten this card before. I'm curious too. Oh, XL. So, bobcats are stealthy hunters, blending easily into their environments. They are independent creatures who can wait for hours for their prey, pouncing up to 10 feet in the right moment. The blackthorn is a thorny scrub covered in bittersweet berries called sloes. Associated with overcoming obstacles, the blackthorn's sharp spines provide shelter to vulnerable birds. According to lore, if blackthorn berries are plentiful, the coming winter will be severe. Traditionally harvested in late autumn, sloes provide nourishment in the forms of jams, wines, and other hearty treats, with which can patiently pass a harsh winter. So, upright. A difficult journey ahead requires preparation and patience. Channel the bobcat's stealth and pack plenty of provisions. Ration your sustenance carefully, remembering that berries are often sweet after a hard frost. Which I guess makes sense, since I almost feel like...
How do you understand the or is it finished? I'm sorry.
Oh, there's there one part, it's like, it's like a questioning thing for yourself. It's how might I mentally prepare that I can survive when supplies are low? So, mentally preparing, almost, in a way. What you're saying, though?
How do you understand the passage?
Let's see. For the past, I think recently, or more like, it's more like describing the preparations of like trying to get a house and like trying to, prepare for like building a life together with someone or something. I think, at least that's how it feels at first. Which, I mean, yeah, it's kind of what you want to do if you want to start a family, kind of prepare for things.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that would be quite accurate, right, for your past?
I'd say so. Seems alright. It's kind of scary. I'm like, okay.
Well, not scary, it's just accurate.
Well, it's one of those weird things, right? So, I pull these cards, and there's some sense of like disbelief in a lot of times of things I do. And then things happen, and I'm like, oh, how did I think that was going to happen anyway? Or, or like my gut feeling, or, you ever have those moments?
Like deja vu or what?
Yeah, deja vu moments, or you're just like, I got a bad feeling about this, and then like something happens, or like maybe you get excited, like when you have like a gut feeling, hey, I feel like there's a big surprise that's gonna happen for me, right? I don't know. Have you ever had those kind of weird moments?
I mean, it's few and far in between for sure.
Yeah.
But that has happened.
Like recently, I had a terrible feeling about my job, about my team, I had this unnerving sensation when I started getting interested into it. I was just telling my sister about this, where I seem to get in a position where I feel like I can go and invest my like time and effort into like the project, but when it happens, it always feels like it's gonna the project's gonna die. And like a month or two later, that's when they told me, like, hey, by the way, the team is gonna be disbanded. And I was like, oh, cool. I was just getting really excited about it. So it's like, what the fuck? It's real annoying.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the moth card for the future.
Yes.
Let's talk about the present. Let's talk about the present.
The present card? Yeah. Upheaval. Well, as you already know, not exactly in the best of scenarios. So, I think it's a really appropriate for, I don't even need it. I don't even think I need to read this card. I think it's just like, well it's done fucked.
What is it again?
Okay,
Can you bring it close to the
to
the cam?
Okay, so this is Vulture. They come out kind of glary. Yeah.
Okay, the Vulture. Okay.
The Vulture card.
All right. So I am interested to hearing what it reads.
Okay. So, yes.
And did you pull it right side up or upside down?
I pulled this one right side up, actually. All these were actually right side up, interestingly enough. Let's see. So this is 13. No, 14. No, 14. I can read Romans. Okay. The Vulture and S photo indicates an unforeseen upheaval, leading to grief, mourning, or regret. The Vulture is often associated with death, but it plays an important role in our ecosystem. Its consumption of carrion, the decaying flesh of animals, prevents the spread of disease. Relatedly, in Greek myth, Asphodel was said to grow in the underworld, and to the Victorians, it sent a tragic message: may regrets follow you to the grave. Often what follows upheaval looks like ruin, and it's tempting to clear the rope and start again. The Vulture in Asphodel reminds us that there is value in what has been lost. Take time to grieve before you rebuild, lest you harbor regret. So, since it's upright, it says, a trauma has occurred, and you need time to grieve. Cleanse your wounds carefully before attempting to move on. How do I experience grief? How do I redefine myself after an upheaval?
I think that's quite profound.
Yeah.
I would say that, and I don't know how applicable it is, you know, with you and your situation. But I'm sure you've heard the term rebound before.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Definitely.
I'm a big advocate of, you know, taking the time to grieve, to fully move on, to and maybe for me it's taking too long, right? And not taking enough risks or whatever, not exposing myself and all of that other stuff. But I really do believe, you know, especially coming out of a relationship, for example, right? I think all of your experiences shape you to who you are, and that includes, you know, your past relationships.
Yeah.
And you know, to the point of what the card is and how it is, or how it may be relevant to your current situation, is take the time, not necessarily to heal. I don't think that's what it's telling you. I think it's taking the time to truly now, like, not refine, but kind of, in a way, find yourself again.
Yeah, finding self again is...
Finding yourself again, right? It's I don't necessarily, I didn't read it as a negative thing. Like, yes, death, yeah, sure, scary. But it's not saying that you're gonna die. It's
No.
literally saying, like, perhaps a part of you died because of the relationship that also happened to have died, right?
Yeah, the death card's interesting. An ending.
And I think that's what I got out of it. Is that, and it's telling you to take your time to fully understand the situation, understand yourself, reestablishing yourself as, you know, out of a relationship,
Yeah,
who
I
you
think
are.
Yeah, I am. It's funny. Maybe that's the reason I got the patience card too, to remind me that I'm supposed to be patient, because I'm not right now. I'm like I'm so frustrated. I'm antsy.
You gotta be the black-footed desert cat, man. You gotta be stealthy and patient.
Dude, those cats are so cool.
Dude, they look so mean too.
Yeah,
it's hilarious because
right?
they're like super tiny.
Yeah, they're so tiny. It's so funny. I don't know how they manage, but they're little stealthy guys too. They're super rare to find. Dang stealthy guys.
And they're super effective. Apparently, they're one of the most effective hunters.
Yeah, in the desert. Yeah, and it's crazy because, I wouldn't expect in the desert's easy to make it, but they do well for themselves.
I love their grumpy faces, dude, and how small they are.
Can't
get over it.
The grumpy little gremlins, right?
Yes, hilarious.
Great.
And then they're so tiny. So okay, so you got the moth card. I got the moth card last time, but mine was upside down.
Yes, that's true.
And then, if I remember correctly, it was saying like something. It's like saying that I wasn't moving on, essentially.
Yeah. Let's read yours again. Actually, let's go read it again, and then read both up and down, because since you got the upside down, I got upright. So, the moth and eucalyptus is a number 13 for a reason. It mirrors the meaning of the death card in a traditional tarot deck. The death card rarely indicates literal death, but marks an ending of some kind and provides us with the knowledge and power to let go. The moth shown here is a death's head hawk moth, named for unique skull-like markings on its back. The death's head is nocturnal, and like all moths, it flies towards the light. Eucalyptus is a symbol of protection, as the oil from this plant can be used to guard against and soothe a variety of ailments. So you got yours reverse. Your resistance to change is preventing you from embracing your full potential. It's okay to let go and move forward. As painful as it might be at first, loosening your grip on the past will open the doors to transformation. Yeah.
That's how it was. That's what it was. Yeah.
I think you felt pretty close to that. How do you feel?
I think, yeah. I mean, it is true. There's part of me that hangs on, right? I think that has to do with the lack of closure.
Yes.
From what it is, right? And so, like, part of me is like, well, what the hell? Part of me, and another part of me is also with the secure attached part of me is like, well, I'm not gonna overinvest, right, or overdo it if my efforts aren't reciprocated, so to speak. So that still unfortunately leaves me in a limbo, right? While I'm not like super stuck and like doing all kinds of crazy things to try to get back with her. Yeah, there's a part of me, I would agree, that I'm just like, well, truly know what happened,
Yeah.
right? Like I
Okay.
can't, like I know, but like I can't confirm that.
Right.
And the unfortunate part, I think we talked about this before, and even with your situation, like most of the time you're just not gonna get a closure
Right. That
to,
is.
why, right? You're just really not going to get that. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, that feeling of closure is something that's like, we really, I mean, I'll speak for myself at least. Like, if I had it, I feel like a lot of my life would have a lot more. It'd be easier to move forward, but not knowing the past and understanding, I don't know how. I don't know what to take from it. Like, yeah, I certainly don't want to feel like it was a waste, but in a way, without closure, without really fully understanding, it feels kind of like that.
Yeah, I agree. It can feel that way for sure. And I also think it's another learning experience, right?
It is, yeah. You do learn
Like,
from it.
yeah, always a big advocate of learning something, right? Something learned, something lost, something learned.
Something lost, something learned is a good. That's a
Yeah.
good phrase to keep. Okay, so then the upright here. An ending is imminent. This can mean the end of a relationship, a hobby or interest, a job, or any number of things. While endings sometimes mark loss, they don't always. And even if we do experience grief, we have the power to emerge from it with a better understanding of ourselves. I think it's important
The
too
irony.
for the irony, yeah,
The
to
irony. Well, the
understand ourselves.
unsurprising irony.
Yes, even though we may not understand what happened with the other person or what happened with their interactions and their story, at least we can understand our story a little better, I think. To transform into something different. It doesn't always have to be some. Would you say the law? Something lost, something learned.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
that's literally what it said, right?
Yeah, basically.
Not word for word, but like it's
Pretty much, you summed it up very eloquently. Just something lost, something learned.
wow.
But
I think the part that's maybe a little bit nerve-wracking for you is that you can see like that happening in multiple things within your life.
fucking hell, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all happening at the same time, which is horrifying. It's,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. Like, I mean, do you believe in you?
yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
I think that was one of I think the third sentence in, right, was you emerge as
Yeah,
something
we
different. It's
have the power to emerge from it with a better understanding of ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely. I No matter what happens, and I know we'll get to it later on, but it starts with a mindset, right? It starts with a mindset.
Yep.
Whatever happens is going to happen. Our reaction and or response from that, and our outlook in life, our outlook, our mindset in things is going to drastically affect the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, because if we what we manifest before us. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's important to
think it's
manifest good things.
yeah, I think it's important to be mindful of what we say. What we say. How are we describing things? Has a Makes a huge difference.
Yeah. The stories that you create, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it changes the narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stories can be told many different ways, but it's, the narrative. From what narrative are you telling the story? Because
Mm-hmm.
those words will change. How you describe something will change based on your narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to know your narrative card today? Or do you want to get... We can... Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
I always want to do the present and not really the past or the future. I don't know why. I'm a now person.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I do the same too. I like to do the current cards. I just want to throw just 3 cards out there out of the whim. I just felt it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw 3 cards out, and I was like, really? This is what I get? Oh shit. Okay, I think it's the cards are telling me to fuck off. It's like, you bastard! You shouldn't believe in us, you shithead. Sorry. Gotta remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh here. Play the hard cards.
You flip the card as Exodia.
Exodia. Fuck.
There goes my life.
No, not my life points. Oh, fuck. Alright, well, yeah, you can tell me color.
Exodia! Obliterate!
Fucking. Do you think of a color? Because I didn't think of one for you.
What color?
I was supposed to ask you a color, but something came off.
Oh, sorry. Today's color.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Just saying think.
For some reason, I'm thinking pink, so I'm gonna go with pink.
Pink. Alright, that's a fun whimsy
Very
color.
strange, like a hot pink too. Like,
oh, magenta hot pink. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Magenta hot pink. Okay. I'm gonna go with this one. Oh, this is fun. It's Innocence. I think I've seen this one before. My card number is 0. It's the first card. The deck.
Is that a squirrel or is that a rat or mouse?
The mouse and Buttercup, actually.
Bring it closer to the cam real quick. Okay, cool.
So it's the first card. I think it's a fun card.
It was right side up, right?
Mm-hmm. Hot pink. Magenta. Alright. Oh no. Like the Fool in Tarot deck, the Mouse and Buttercup is numbered 0. Both cards mark the start of a journey, and both remind us that we have much to learn. Mice are grounded and innocent, yet anyone who has dealt with a mouse in their home knows they are determined and highly adaptable. The mouse is paired with a humble buttercup, a symbol of childhood innocence. Have you ever held a buttercup under your chin? According to a centuries-year-old children's game, if the reflection of the flower glows yellow on your skin, it reveals that you like butter. Upright. You may be embarking on a journey or starting down a new path. Remember that innocence and a lack of understanding are not negative qualities. Instead, they remind us that it's our capacity for growth, adaptability, and learning. What do I hope to learn on this new path? What potential dangers should I look out for? I like that we got this card for you this time, and you had the death card the last time. It's
like the opposite, right? Last time it's like I'm stuck. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go.
I think maybe, you know what? Maybe that card like got you thinking. You know, maybe I mean
it sure did actually. It actually did.
Did it?
I won't lie to you. Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then this happened just today too, ironically, and this happened. And I'll tell you what it is that happened. I think it would have been after we decided that we were gonna have to talk today.
Okay,
to
okay.
come on stream.
Yeah.
And I didn't delete her out of my contact list because I don't think she justified for that. Like, I don't think I need to. Like, it wasn't like we had a toxic situation.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't.
Right.
But yeah, I actually removed her from my favorite today.
Oh, good. I'm proud of you, dude. Nice.
Yeah.
That's moving forward, man.
Yeah, so that happened. And then I think yeah, having seen that card, it it reminds me of that, right? That I'm perhaps I should be letting go, right? Perhaps I'm just holding on to something that I shouldn't be, which most of the case is that's what it is. You shouldn't hold on to something that you shouldn't.
Yeah. This change is hard.
Yeah.
Change is
Very
scary.
interesting. This is kind of cool.
You're on a new journey.
New journey, but also it's like wipe clean, innocent white sheet of paper.
Yeah. I mean, it describes that being innocent is not necessarily a bad thing. It just might mean that you're. What does it say here?
Yeah, I might just be ready for like a brand new experience, and I don't know what to expect, what to look out for.
Yeah.
Brand new, like just a lot of things to learn.
Which is great, because honestly, like, yeah, having the capacity for growth and stuff and learn, I mean, that's just honestly perfect for your new path. I'm really glad to hear that you took that first step today. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
How did it feel after you did it?
Nothing. I mean,
nothing. No, it's cold.
I mean, it's true though, in a way, right?
Yeah.
But I think something like this, could be symbolic.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
A start.
it could be symbolic. Just an action, right? Just an action that has been done to say that I'm ready to move on, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, start a new journey, start something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, that's it.
Oh, this is.
It's kind of like the analogy of one day, right? And then there's day one.
Yeah.
And today was my day one. Kind of, in a way.
In a way, I mean, heck yeah, this marks it. This is freaking cool. I really like that actually happened. That's awesome. Well, looks like that's the right path to take, dude. So, good times.
Either it's right or wrong. That's the path I'm taking. So,
yeah, for sure. I think that's the right path. I do think that's genuinely the right path, because being able to grow, was it something lost, something learned?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is why I like this deck. It's the only deck I have. I was debating about getting more of these decks, but it's always done things for me. I don't know what it's trying to tell me right now, but now I'm curious. I pulled the Dreams card. I don't think I was supposed to read that. No, I don't think so. I think that's an accident.
Was it meant for you?
I don't know.
Were you thinking about something?
That was the thing. I don't know. Here's the weird thing. Sometimes when I think about, like, randomly, I'll pull a card. I'm like, I don't know if this is supposed to be true or not. And I don't know, it's a gut feeling. Sometimes it's gut feeling. I'm like, nope, that's not for me. That's not right. I've done weird card readings before where, like, the person wasn't thinking about the right thing and I got a bizarre card. It didn't make any sense for them. So
Makes sense, doesn't
it? Yeah, right. Okay, I'll put those cards away. Okay, so did you actually get to finish the video?
Yeah, I finished the video, and then I looked at your list, and then I decided to go back to it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I can, add more topics to it. I think we have plenty, to be honest, for at least for now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. You know, if we want to do more, it will extend the runtime for the stream significantly.
Yeah, because we could keep going on. So, what's the first thing you said? How do people see you? Oh yeah, that's right. You had a question. We kind of discussed this previously a little bit about like how.
I did. Like, that was my question to you, but that was also like one of the starting questions too from the video.
Yeah. Yep. How do people see you? It's like, okay, let me write this down here.
And I'll tell you why this is a big deal.
Yeah, do share while I type this out.
I was just talking to my sister, actually, before joining this call. But we talked a whole lot about family and things like that. Mom and dad are fighting, but I'm just a chill guy.
Oh man, terrifying.
Anyways, we were talking about being yourself, and I think that in the video that was mentioned too. Being yourself.
Okay.
Being yourself is always good, and you should be yourself. But there's being yourself, and then there's how you choose to present yourself.
Oh, okay. And choose present yourself.
And to me, of course, this is linked to how people see you, because how you present yourself is how people see you.
Right. The story that you kind of share with them and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when we had our discussion about how we thought people see us, which can be completely different, by the way, than how people actually see us.
Yeah, it's our perception of what their perception is, so it's like one removed.
Exactly. But then also it links to the other thing that I was asking you about, or the next topic, kind of, which is the misinterpretation of neutral faces to negative, and
yes.
the way you see the world changes the world.
Yes, the way that you see the world. Yes.
Your interpretation of people's perception of you will change. Right? Will change the perception of yourself.
Yeah, just because like the moment that you see something, like in my aspect, like when we talked about it, is like I see people. I'm a little more angry. I'm a little bit more aggressive potentially. So then, and I would potentially see their neutral faces as potentially like a little angrier, a little more upset. And I thought, like, she mentioned that in the video, and I thought that was like, dang, that's kind of accurate, because that's kind of how I feel in a way. Like, I always get uneasy about it.
And then your reaction to that is going to be similar, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a cycle, a vicious cycle.
Yeah, I create an idea. I create a negative narrative. I feel negative, which then I exude that out as my personality potentially, which then when they look at me, they go, well, that guy's kind of negative. I don't know if I can trust him. And then just reinforces that idea that, hey, the world is negative. I'm just creating it.
Yeah. That kind of ties back into what we were talking about earlier too, right? The mindset kind of thing. And I mentioned this also yesterday when we were just DMing about outlook equals outcome kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that describes is our outlook can sometimes, well, often affect our outcomes.
Right.
Because of our mindset and our narrative, just like what you were saying. So if you don't mind sharing again, well, I mean, you just did actually, which was like angry.
Yeah, what are
Uh,
yours then? Right. How about you? How do you see it? Do you have?
is this me? Like how I think of myself, or how I think people see me?
Yeah, like in your interpretation of neutral faces and stuff like that, or like
Oh,
also.
neutral faces.
Yeah.
I think, and the more that I think about it, it's the same way. I think a lot of people, and I don't think you are, you know, outside of the bell curve if you were to interpret neutral faces into negative. I think most people do actually. I do too. But there is a level of awareness and, for me, and I do, and they talk about this in the video about fixed smiling, but I'll use it in a different context because I have clients. And so smiling, it's a big thing, right? Like we know that smiling gives off friendliness and
The warmth. Yes.
approachability, the warmth. Yeah, exactly. And there are times where I know I have to do that. And so almost like when I don't have to, I like go immediately back to what she would refer it to as the what is it? Resting bothered face.
Resting bothered face. Yes, the resting bothered face. Yes.
What she meant to say is resting bitch face, right? That's what we know.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Pretty much.
So I do catch myself, and I do know that when I'm in the situation where I am not required to be like super friendly, like again, client facing and things like that, I tend to go back to the resting bother face. And what does that do, right? And that's a lot. It's talk about like visual cues and things like that is it's the opposite of being approachable, number one.
Right. It's hard.
And a lot of times, with a face like that, you are almost guaranteed to not disregard, but you almost avoid eye contact, which can be a connection. So I may be passively denying those connections.
Right.
Well, because I am, because I appear so unapproachable that I simply won't be approached, number one. And therefore, preemptively denying that connections to be made.
Yes. It's unfortunate too, because it also, especially for people that like, some people look negatively on the world because of like, they don't want to talk to me, probably because I don't, nobody wants, it's that encourage, like, they don't want to talk to me and they probably hate me kind of thing, and then they don't talk to you because you look like you have this feeling that you exude this energy that they don't want to talk to you, so then it feels uncomfortable for them to actually make that first step, and then it reinforces the idea again of like, well, crap, I guess the world sucks.
And the thing is, if you were to change that, right? And I know this obviously because again, when I am in my client facing mode, it's like a switch on, right? And I turn my resting bother face into a smiley, super friendly face. Maybe not super friendly. Let's be real.
Just warmer face, right?
But more warm, right?
Yeah.
Warmer. And it changes a lot of things, right? Like I'm pretty sure you've had experience where if you have caught yourself, right, and you have made the conscious effort to say, I'm just gonna smile, right? At least a light smile, right? Just being super hyper aware of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
facial expression that it changes people reaction to you.
Yes, yes. I, I feel that.
And so I think it's worthwhile, right, uh, to again be diligent and be hyper aware of that facial, our facial expression.
Yeah.
There are, in the past I have, and I don't do it as much anymore. But I would. This is gonna sound weird, but it's really not. I practice smiling.
No, I believe that's actually something that is wise to do. I think she described it in another video how, like, if you don't understand what you look like when you're resting, look at yourself in the mirror and just like see how you feel about yourself when you are relaxed. And I think that's a fantastic idea, because and it also kind of lets you reinvent the narrative that you want to see in the world around you. Because, like, if you look at yourself in the mirror, the world is in front of you, it's just your face. So if you don't like what you see, if you're not smiling, or if you feel like you feel that your own face is somewhat a little aggressive or somewhat like off-putting, you change it. And then once you change it, you might smile or you might whatever, and then you suddenly feel better towards yourself, which then in turn will, when you got in the real world, you in turn feel people will feel better towards you. It's like this positive cycle, right? And that's probably, is that how you feel like after you started practicing smiling?
Yeah, I mean, I think this all not coordinate, but it has to do with correlate. That's the word I was supposed to use. Correlates with, the whole self-love kind of thing, right? It's like, how
Yes.
do you expect people to love you if you find it hard to love yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a conversation that should be had more often.
How to love yourself is it's one of those, I feel like, I don't know if it's our age or if it's just the current way that how we grew up and now how the current world is growing up. I feel like a lot of, they didn't really talk a lot about like self-love. They more or less kind of poke fun at people that, like, this is from my experience, like the Facebook generation of us, when we start getting MySpace and like Facebook, I feel like the older generations were kind of mockering, like, oh, how could you like do that? You guys are all narcissists and stuff like that. When in reality, it was just like, it was a different way of expressing ourselves, and then learning how to be like, yeah, I accept that. This is part of who I am, versus the whole narcissist thing is, I think, made it hard to self-love, because it just perpetuated an idea that we're not supposed to look at ourselves and be like, yeah, I like this. What do you feel? Has that been your experience as well, or something different?
Something maybe different. I think we need to go beyond like physicality.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think one of the ways that you can think about why you like love someone. You don't love them not strictly because of physicality. You
Mm.
love them for their character.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, and character is built. It's lifelong, right? It's built over time, lifelong.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think if we were to develop character traits within ourselves, we can look back and we can reflect and be proud that we have spent the time, overcome hardships and things like that, again, helping us to feel proud of the things that we have accomplished, no matter how big or small.
Mm-hmm.
So character is one of the ways, or developing characters is one of the ways that you can love yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You love yourself. You feel happy. You feel joy when you accomplish something, especially if it's something that you worked hard on. Like this mini speech that I gave today was unironically about resilience and perseverance.
Ooh,
And those are
share.
character traits.
Mm-hmm.
Those are character traits. And those are the things that you can be proud of. And those are the character traits that help you love yourself.
Developing that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I would read the message I wrote. It's not very long, but maybe later.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'd like to share that. But
Yeah.
so developing characters. This kind of goes into our next topic of the three types: the extrovert, introvert, and ambivert.
Wait, let's go back really quick.
Oh,
Go
okay.
back to the first question, the second part of the question, which is, how do you want people to see you?
Oh yeah, right. We didn't discuss how you actually want that. Yeah. It's we discussed a little bit. In my DMs to you, you felt. You want to describe again how you felt people see you as versus
Well,
how.
I think people still see me, and this is a feedback that someone, my superiors from work,
Okay. Ooh, that's
has told me, and I think it's important to look at things a little bit differently, because we are different selves when based on situation.
Mm-hmm.
So in the professional space, I'm more reserved.
Okay.
Is that good? Is that bad? In our culture, US, by the way, usually bad. At least that's the first thing, because in the US culture, leaders are expected, almost expected, not by everyone, too much of a blanket statement there, but you're expected to be outspoken. You're expected to be hoorah, right?
Yep.
And
yes. A little bit exuberant. Yes.
yeah, so things like that. Whereas being soft-spoken is kind of the opposite, right? So right there, right, that would imply that being soft-spoken, if that's the feedback I'm getting from a professional aspect, not great.
Interesting. So
Right.
is your a superior that you had give you this feedback?
Yeah. There's and I think you can kind of see that too, right? When I described how I prepared for my speech, my mini speech today. Right? So think about from an aspect of, well, if my work expect me, right, to participate, to speak out, to share thoughts, ideas, takeaways, and I'm not actively doing that, right?
Yep.
They look at that as being, well, he's not compliant. He's not trying to stand out. He's not trying to XYZ for that.
He's being
I'm not saying
passive,
that's right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that's right? And in fact, when I explain it to why I wrote the mini speech, it's not that I don't want to stand out. if you think about it, if everyone is speaking out, like who is really standing out?
Right. You can't highlight the whole page.
Yeah. So instead of doing that, I deliberately composed the message because I know it's an expectation to participate. I simply just needed time. I wanted time. I need the time to put my thoughts together. And I want to make an impact. So I put in the time to compose a message with the hope that it will be well received, that it will be impactful, that it will resonate with people.
Okay. I see.
So it's not that I don't want to participate, like I was saying, is that I do need to take it all in. That makes me a little bit, it seems, right? It would seem like I may be not as quick to act compared to the norm of what people look for in leadership kind of roles. But I don't think, in fact, I know that I am impactful.
So, like, when you felt like, when you first heard that, like, response, what did you feel like? Did you feel like your message, or like how you perceived yourself versus like how they perceived you, did you feel like, wow, there's something incredibly like different there? Like, did you immediately want to change something?
Yes and no, right? I think the immediate want is there. Like, oh yeah, if I just do that, I can just stand out, right? But once in a while, you come across also leaders that are looking for other things.
Oh.
And that's exactly what happened last year when I talked to my AVP. Is he notices me.
Okay.
He thought I present myself very well, that I spoke well, and like almost in a way magnetic. The
So that's
words that he used were when you talk, people listen.
that's a very
And
different. Go ahead.
yeah, and again, that's and he, that meant a lot to me, right? Because this entire time, people are like, "Oh, you're so soft spoken. Want you to participate more." Things like that. And then for my AVP to say, "Yeah, I'm impressed by you. People are impressed by you when you speak."
That's great. Yeah.
So still in a limbo, right? In a way, because it's like, well, do I still want to be that, or try to not, you know what I mean? Like what I do here, right? Of course, I have a choice always.
Yeah.
To decide what I want to do, and all of that.
Because you've almost gotten like a feedback of both. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. So maybe, so the VP has one set of stories for you. They have a perspective and viewpoint and some story about you, and then this other superior has another story for you. How come you think that is?
Well, I think it has to do with a lot of times, especially in the corporate environment, they look at it. Well, optics. Optics is important. When again, in the Western culture, when you look for a leader, it is someone who is like quick, right? Quick to respond and things like that.
Well, currently in the current atmosphere, that's what seems to be the most eye-catching thing.
Yeah, that's what's favored currently. Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, once in a while you have those individuals who like wait a minute, right? Maybe we do want a little bit of diversity. It's good to have leaders who are outspoken, and then there's also maybe benefits perhaps to have leaders who kind of sit back a little bit.
Yeah,
and and still provide value. I think they both provide value, right? The outspoken leader may be a great leader to rally the group, for example. And then the perhaps more soft-spoken leader would be excelling in other areas, such as maybe relationship building, right? Maybe being more open to different ideas, to be able to let the team shine a little bit more. And I'm not saying that it's like these are exclusive traits for those leaders, right? Those kind of different style leaders.
Right.
But again, I think every individual are they are unique, right? And it's really hard to judge that. However, when the optics is out there, right? When you have 50, 60 people in the audience, they tend to favor the person who stand out, right?
The loud
And the
ones.
more opportunity, the more opportunity you get to speak, so to speak, the more opportunity you get to be impactful.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that, and currently right now I am good with where I am as far as how I want to do things. Of course, I'm open to feedback and all of that stuff. Doesn't mean that I'll like make immediate change or anything like that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I've gotten this far, and I'm not saying like I'm like top of the chain or whatever the case may be, but maybe there is room, right? Maybe there is room, but but if there isn't room, maybe it is necessary for me to find this way, this other way. So we'll see. But what about you, man? How do you want people to see you? Well, I want people. Well, I'll kind of redo this. So how I want to be seen. I want to be seen as impactful, and in a way, I don't want to say influential, but kind of, right? If you're impactful, you're kind of impactful. You're kind of influential in that way. So yeah, that I do want to be impactful for sure. I want to. This might be like a little bit arrogant, I guess, but like I want to be a positive change. I want to be a positive influence.
I think that's that's great.
Yeah, that's what I want. Like I want to have conversation with people and have them be able to take something away from that conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe not like I'm immediately gonna change, but something for them to chew on, right? Provide a perspective that they may not have seen before.
Yeah,
that may be helpful for them.
You want to be an adder to someone's life. You don't want to be a negative attribute to someone's life. Yeah, no, I think
exactly.
I think that's fantastic to have. I don't think that's arrogant at all. In fact, I think if anything, that's a very positive trait to have, to want to have a positive impact on other people. There's a car. But yeah, no, I think that's all great to want to have as more to like that influence and stuff like that. I don't think that's arrogant at all. I mean, in a way, I also too would like. I mean, this whole little experiment I'm doing here, right? I mean, I would like to be impactful, even to like one or two people, whatever. I think, I don't think, I guess I wouldn't see this as trying to be arrogant at all, because I mean, again, trying to provide a positive impact, a different perspective, right? I think
Yeah.
that's really good to have for people. And that, you know, I would hope that they're looking for it, right? Like we're not shoving it in someone's face, right? That'd be different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think if you tell me like, actually, I want to force my ideas on someone else, I think that'd be a lot different.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely different.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
like, okay, so like for me, I would say, hmm,
Well,
I,
first let's kind of review like what. But I think you talked about like the neutral faces to negative, but
oh yeah,
let's really talk about how people like what you think people see you, or how you think people see you.
yeah. Oh goodness. Oof. Wow. That's really, that's a deep question of like how I think people see me. I think people, I definitely felt like people have not wanted to approach me. Um, Most of my life, I think I was really, I think I was really standoffish actually for a long time, to be honest. And I noticed a change when I changed my name, actually. And
Mhm.
once I showed that I was more comfortable with myself,
Mhm.
people became more comfortable with me, actually. It was this self fulfilling prophecy almost in a way. It was like, um,
How you feel about yourself affect how other people feel about you. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
It's kind of go back to the whole narrative thing, outlook and outcome kind of thing, right?
yeah. The story that you build for yourself is the story that you're telling everyone else too.
Yeah.
And I, again, because this is the problem of like, how do I think people feel about me versus like, how do they actually feel about me? I know it's like one removed. I In some cases I feel like people do want to talk to me, but in some cases I'm just like, it they kind of look at me strangely sometimes. I do catch people staring, and I never stare back. I never like I let them look, but I always have a curiosity of why are they looking at me though. It feels like I walk somewhere, right? And I always feel this instinctual like weird, like I can usually see it from the side eye. Usually they look at me or they turn, and it's it actually makes me a little uncomfortable. I don't actually know why. I don't look back, but maybe I should sometime. I don't know. But I always feel like I'm a threat of some sort. I don't
You know,
instinctually that.
there are times where I feel the same, right?
Do you?
Where
Okay.
maybe some like gazing and whatever that
Mm.
happens. Um,
Have you have you ever
but
looked back
but
at
then
them?
there are yeah, I sometimes I don't, but sometimes I deliberately do make eye contact and with the smile and all of that stuff too, right?
Yeah. How'd that
Uh,
go?
it, usually well, you
Okay.
know. And that's the thing is like you do really have the ability to change certain outcomes by the way that you carry yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. You know, again, you are changing the narrative. You are, as what the video would say, you're changing the script. If
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're changing something. You're breaking out of the cycle, right? That's
Mm.
another way to look at it. It's okay. So if my experience has been this because I do this, what if I do something completely different? Something completely new, nuance. Uh,
Mm,
what are the reactions I get from that? And then how do you feel as a result of that?
mm, yeah. Yeah, I that's interesting. I should try and like not aggressively looking back, but like actively like looking back and smiling because I think because that again the narrative is that I don't want people to think I'm aggressive. But um yeah, I should try that. Just look back like, hey, hi.
What I've found, um, what I found is this: for there's there are different ways to do like nonverbal things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Smile usually works really well with. I'm not gonna say really well. It works well with um, the elderly. It works well with women
Mm.
and kids. However, if you do this with men,
Mm-hmm.
more specifically like heterosexual men, uh, may not be the best idea. I think there's a different code for that. It's more like a head nod,
Yes.
like
Okay. I was.
a neutral face head nod. That's like, and that's usually well received.
You know what's funny? Actually, I find myself reacting better to men than I do reacting to like kids or like women. Where when I see a guy like gaze, like their gaze changes or they look at me, I immediately do the head nod thing, right? And I also give them a little hand wave. I learned that from one of her videos too, the whole just like open hand. I think that's been working really well actually. Um, that's one of those code things that I took from her videos. It's been
Yeah,
well received too because other men will also just like do a little hand wave and stuff like that, and then it just
yeah.
neutralizes any kind of awkwardness sometimes.
I mean, there's I guess psychologically speaking, and it shouldn't be the case, but like in a way, doing that, doing like we feel a little bit more. There's a little bit more pressure, I guess, if you can call it that.
Oh, I
Uh,
see.
with women, right? Because they're like, while you may not be romantically interested or whatever, there's still that man. What if, like, what if she's like, ugh, like we don't like to feel that, obviously.
Interesting. I think that's actually one of the topics that we're going to talk about in a bit. But yes,
Yeah, so
I
maybe get
agree.
ahead of ourselves a little bit. But so again, so for you, you think when people see you, at least back a while back,
Hmm.
the word um, uncomfortable kind of popped up,
Yeah.
right? Is with that, like, is that how you would say how people will see you, like uncomfortable, like, or what is it, or how, like,
I think
what
people
would it be in your words?
I think people don't know what to make of me. They don't um it's like seeing a new color they've never seen before. It's like seeing a
Uh,
new recipe. It's like if someone served you something completely different from the thing that you think you ordered. Like you ordered a steak, but it came out and there was something green on it or something, right?
okay.
That's the maybe not necessarily uncomfortable, but just like they don't really know.
Uneasy.
They don't know what to make of it. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe uneasy, unsure,
Yeah. Unsure.
uncertain. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this, right? And because you kind of went on about this already, like you had your name change, and that made you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Hmm.
Um, is that related? Like, do you think how you think people see you is related to how you see yourself? Like,
You
how do
know,
you see yourself?
yeah, actually, this goes a lot about having having that narrative about yourself. makes people like if you don't know how you feel yourself, there's no way someone knows how to feel about you, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then I think the name change, right? I didn't, to be totally frank with you, um, like this is a cultural thing for me, because I had an English name that was an English name for a while. Like you had
Yeah.
yours, but I didn't
Yeah.
have one. I had my literal translation over, and
Yes.
I didn't fully understand my own name, where it came from. Like, it didn't feel like me, and
Uh-huh.
there weren't many positive stories behind my name. And
Sure.
what ended up happening was it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy of like uncertainty of my name, plus then people being uncomfortable with it. Because let's just admit, there's the name Bob, very easy to pronounce, and then there's my name. You were literally looking at a steak that has green on it, and you're not sure what to make out of it because what do you say? How do you describe it, right? And then for me, I tried to describe it, which I'm not
Yeah.
even sure how the hell to describe it, which then makes them go, well, what the hell is it? It's, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, I completely understand because, um, like obviously everyone has always called me by my name
Mm-hmm.
before. Like when I was born, I already had my name,
Okay. Yeah.
The English name that is.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. However, on legal documents, it was the same as you.
Yeah.
And I too also went through the legal process to actually make my English name my legal name.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I mean that did change uh
Hmm. Interesting.
in in different ways, right? Like I wouldn't introduce myself as anything other than my English name.
Okay.
But and I know your story kind of, right? At least for the name part, it's like well, you didn't have that until you had that.
Yeah. I had.
So growing up, you just had that, and it was just so different than everyone else.
Yeah. It was a really weird, different item on the menu that you're not looking for, but it's for the main course. So you're like, okay, maybe I'll try it, you know? But even then, it's not even a try. It's more like it's it's a side dish that you get with every meal. You have to
Yeah,
you didn't choose it, it's just you have to see it. And in that case it felt like me. It felt like I was a side dish that no one really wanted because I didn't want it. you know?
yeah,
And it's
for sure.
that narrative really it was a
No, totally get it. Totally understandable, relatable, even.
yeah.
Because I kind of lived through that too. But I think my story was a little bit less severe because I've always had an English name to go to,
Yeah.
so I can, relate and introduce myself in a way that is more in line with our current culture. So
yeah.
yeah, I totally understand. So yeah, I'm glad you made that change because it does help you kind of again reestablish, right? We were talking about this when you were pulling tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to reestablish yourself. You have, you have a new identity at that point in time, quite literally,
Yeah.
legally speaking. But it
It's
is kind of like,
yeah.
you know, that part of you is kind of in the past now.
It's interesting. I didn't realize that your English name is your first name now, actually.
Yeah,
Or we
yeah,
yeah. For me it's actually I couldn't I was so far in the process of like of my life, I didn't change
hmm
my first name. I actually added a middle name. So that's yeah, so it's a little different. Everything legally still is that other name.
yeah, okay.
Like yeah, which is interesting, but at least I have legal documentation if someone knows me as Enzo. you know, they
Sure.
can say that, and it's on my ID, you know, something. Yeah,
That'd be cool if you just change your now first name if you're able to Korvox.
that would be funny. That would be wild as hell, honestly. Didn't know.
I'm sure you can do it if
I,
you want to, obviously.
that would be pretty crazy. I don't know how
Yeah.
that would work out. I
Although I'm gonna be honest, I like Enzo. Like it has a better ring. So like maybe Korvox,
yeah,
maybe your middle name or something. I don't know. I think that would be
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Korvox would be a good middle name. Interesting
Yeah.
enough, just this whole characterization wasn't supposed to happen the way it did, but I'm kind of going with it. Just trying something new, I guess.
Yeah. Sure. Sure thing. Sure thing. So how now? No, we've gone through all of this and we kind of know your story now. We kind of talked about how you think people see you and how the way you saw yourself impacted how people saw you
The
also.
narrative. Yeah.
So now, knowing all that you do know and knowing that whatever word it is that used to describe you can be changed,
Mm-hmm.
how do you want people to see you going forward?
Oof. Ah, curious. I think that's the word I want to use. I think I want people to know I'm curious.
Okay.
It. I think there's. It's actually a really hard thing to have people see you as. Inquisitive is another one too as well, like similar vein. That I would like people to see me as, because then it kind of invokes a sense of I'm curious. If
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great filter from, I'd like to have that as a filter to show that, look, if you're a person that's very much like on the mindset of stay away from me, I keep to myself, don't approach me because I'll probably be curious about you, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
works. I think it works a great as a filter, because it's like, if people don't want to talk about themselves or people don't want to connect, that's great, and that's the person for you. Cool. And then
Okay.
obviously the people that are like, hey, I'm curious too. Do you and you look curious as well? Hey, that's good. Now, that there's a much more bigger spark there versus
Mm-hmm.
I just recently was meeting some new people, and they described themselves as a person. I was talking to them a little bit about um their men versus women being approached and stuff like that. And one of the
Uh-huh.
things was, I might be jumping a little ahead, but this is related. Now, I asked them if how do they want to be approached? Because there's that video we saw the other time that was like,
Yeah.
women want to be approached and stuff like that. And I asked this group of ladies, how do you feel about it? And one of them was like, I don't want to be perceived by you. I was like, I'm sorry, describe what you mean by that. Like, what do you mean? And they're like, look, I don't want you to even know that I exist. Do not perceive me. Do not even recognize me until I make the decision I want you to see me. So, like, it's an interesting thing, because as a person that wants to be curious, if there's a person that doesn't want to be perceived, that they're gonna go away. They're gonna just disappear into the distance, and then that works out, because I think that'd be really hard for me to try to be friends with them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. But I think there's also an opportunity to ask why that is, right? If you already expressed that you're curious,
Mm-hmm.
or that you're wanting to express that you're curious and that you want people to see you as curious, I think there's, I mean, the only harm is them like literally shutting the door in your face, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's true.
yeah. So I mean, uh, and that may very well be the case, right? If you are curious, there will be times where people will shut you down, and I think you have to kind of be okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel like, I mean, I will. My part of my curiosity was actually why I asked that person, like, how come you don't like being perceived, so to speak? And I thought that was
Yeah.
they were very nice to like give me an answer and stuff like that. Um,
Good.
but like I'm not actually sure. I think it's because it was like a group setting, like they had friends of friends that knew me kind of thing, so like I got the pass. But it is very interesting the kinds of people that like, you know, would go ahead and like not want to talk to me, so to speak. But I also don't want to make them uncomfortable because evidently one of the aspects about like approaching someone, especially one that doesn't want to be perceived, so to speak, they said it was actually very stressful. It was
Yeah.
very uncomfortable experience for them actually. So my curiosity would just come off as very negative, right?
Well, at least it could be like a negative experience. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for them at least. For me, it's fine, but yeah, I don't want to do that to them, to anyone, if anything, right? Like how to approach that
Is
stuff.
there perhaps an opportunity to change um, how you express your curiosity without inflecting, that's kind of serious word, but without having people feel uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does like it? I don't know what that looks like because I'm a curious person myself,
Mm-hmm. Right.
you know,
But
and there are definitely times where I'm like I just kind of keep asking. uh, one of the things about me is that sometimes I just don't care.
mm,
Um, like if it's not that I don't care about how people feel, but like also understand that you're not for everyone, and not everyone is for you, right?
mm-hmm,
And,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
and that in itself is like just like what you said before, like it's okay, right? If we're not vibing, it's okay. So like if you're
Yeah.
not okay with me finding out about you, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree with that, with the whole vibing thing. It's interestingly enough, on that specific person, it actually, even though they were like they generally don't like people like approaching them and stuff like that, they oddly
Mhm.
enough were pretty chill with me when I was like talking to them and stuff like that. So in some aspects I do wonder if it's like a self-defense mechanism for certain types of situations maybe. So I don't know. It's like, were they, was it maybe just like most of the time they're recharging because they're ambivert, or like, they're introverted ish or something? Oh,
I
stuff like
think
that.
in most cases, people like to talk about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And for what it's worth, when you express curiosity, unless they really, really dislike you, or like they are on like a mission or something like that to do something else, that you're literally like stopping them from doing what it is that they want to do or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it usually is quite well received. Um, because again, people like to talk about themselves, especially when people ask them. It makes them feel noticed, important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and this is why I don't I don't think like that's that big of a deal. Like maybe on the back end, right? They might be like, oh man, who was that friend of yours? He was kind of
Yeah.
strange. You're just asking a lot of questions. But like, okay, like what harm? Like there's no harm in that.
Well,
If anything, you made an impression.
yeah, that's true.
Maybe not the best one, but maybe not also the worst, right? The answer is almost always in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Uh, yeah, there was trying to like learn about the different types of people and trying to learn different types of like levels of like how they want to be seen, how I want to see them, how I want to be seen by them, kind of thing. I think it's always one of those like it's gonna be somewhere in the middle kind of thing. I mean, I would love for people to see me as always curious, but like that, shrug.
Well, if what you're doing is asking questions,
mhm.
then I think people will see you as curious.
I think so. So far, it's been actually kind of difficult still because I'm still in a weird limbo phase of like, you know, finding the people that would like those kinds of things. And um maybe maybe tell me about your experiences, but I kind of feel like a lot of people are closing up. They're like clamshelling because the current set of like there's a lot of like crosstalk, right? And so a lot of people are just slowly shutting down and letting the extra loud people talk, but not really expressing themselves because they feel they may be shamed for it or something like that. Like, oh, they're not going to be accepted by the group and stuff like that. It's like there's some sense of like,
Societal pressure.
yes, exactly. Do you experience that too with some of the people that you talk to and be curious with?
Well, I think societal pressure has always been a thing, right? For as
Mm-hmm.
long as there is a society,
Yeah,
there will
right.
be societal pressure.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, yes, but less so into adulthood. This is more so like in high school, where the societal pressure is much higher,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
for partially because of the societal pressure and and it's more likely to happen in a group setting. It's why I prefer one-on-one
Yes.
conversations because again, you can sit here and tell me all day that you don't care about
Mm,
what people think about you or how people look at you, but you
yeah.
do,
But yeah. Right. Yeah.
right? You do, and it may not be from complete strangers, uh, you know, it, or whatever, but you do.
Yeah.
That's yeah. There's nothing to expand on really.
Yeah.
You do care. People generally care about what people think about them, especially people close to them.
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, to your point, if you're trying to have a one-on-one conversation in a group setting, it may not work out, right? Like if you're trying to do like a curiosity thing, you
Yeah.
might have to change that into like, well, how do we get the rest of the group to participate
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, right, just focusing on one person. And then now you have to manage those conversations and it does take some conversational skills to be able to keep up with all of those things and remembering those details
Oh
and
yeah.
attaching them to the faces that you were speaking to or
Oh
speaking
yeah.
with rather.
Yeah. That's
For you, this is like relatively new territory, right?
yeah. That's pretty
So
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course, like right now, this is consuming you almost,
Yeah.
almost.
Almost. Yeah.
Uh,
Pretty close.
it's an overwhelming amount of new influx of
Yeah.
information that you're taking in, and having to digest. But then at the same time, you're like, I don't have time to digest. Because there's more out there for me to consume, which is
Yes.
okay, by the way. Like don't worry about that. It's not like you'll actually be overloaded, right? You're humans just not capable of being overloaded with information. Like we can be sure. Like what we feel is fatigue and all of that stuff, but um your brain will naturally sort it out, right? Like it's not, just because you overconsume doesn't mean it's wasteful, right? For example, like it just means that you are gonna be overthinking some of this stuff, maybe putting too much emphasis on some over others and whatever. But what it does, right, to you, I think we can agree that ever since you have gotten into this psychology stuff, that I think, based on my observation, is that it did help you.
Yeah, it definitely has. It's gotten me a lot more broader sense. It's gotten me out of my head, because I think a lot of us as individuals, we get into this idea of like what something is, and we tell ourselves a story, a narrative, but then we don't get another perspective to write the narrative with. We don't have any side characters, any side quests. We don't have any of that. And then our story becomes just our own, and then we don't even know if we're writing the right story anymore at that point, because we don't have anything else to give it context. There's no depth to it.
Yeah,
that's
for
nice. I'm
Yeah,
very
good.
glad you can show me stuff.
Good. I'm glad that you're finding this stuff helpful to you. In both recovering and looking forward to, into the future.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Well, I vaguely remember like when I started, but it's been a long journey for me. To start to diving into psychology stuff and communication and all of that stuff. Long journey, really. I think even back before I moved to Texas, I think we kind of talked about that. And like the book I recommended, I'm sure you've heard before, right? How to make friends and influence people, right? I'm sure you heard it before I moved to Texas even. So it's been that long, right? So definitely a long journey, and the pacing of it is very different. I would say in the past year or so, it's been kind of exponential. And I think it came in spurts. The first spurt was when I read the book, and then kind of coasted, and then just again up until recently, and again another crazy spurts of growth in that.
I gotta read that book.
You should. I mean, it's not that long of a book, and you definitely do. If you want to do like an audiobook, do that. I mean, I used to, because I drove. I mean, I still drive a lot, so that helps me. In fact, the videos that I recommend for watching and stuff like that, I listen to them on a car ride too.
Oh man, are you still doing the you're still doing the drive to the office right now? Nothing's changed?
I am. I'm still driving to the office, and it still takes me a while, but I usually in the morning, I can almost always hit up Surge to talk. That will give us like a half an hour to connect and things like that.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool. I wish I had more people to do that with, honestly, because it's like, because that time, right, I could use it to consume things, to learn things too, right? Which I do, right? When I watch or listen to videos and things like that, I learn a little bit more. But I love to, right? That's one of the things I want to do more of, is to connect with friends, to talk more about what we're talking about. Because I don't think many people do have these kind of conversations, and and every time I do it, I get so passionate about it. And
I can tell, yeah. That's what makes me so happy when we get to talk about it and stuff. And because I'm the same way. I feel like if more people had these kind of conversations, there'd be so much more that could be like perceived from like each other. The narrative changes for everyone. Like a little bit changes story, a little bit here and there. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, especially stuff like this require a lot of vulnerability too. So, kind of again going back to your story and your experience, meeting with your new acquaintance slash friend, that to tell that experience, it requires a level of vulnerability, and you can be that person for someone, right? You can be that person who someone can open up to and share vulnerability with, and those connections are fantastic. Just think about the amount of trust you have to have. We're not talking about trauma dumping. It's not like it is weird. This is true vulnerability, not trauma dumping. Imagine being able to be that person, to be that trusted person where they can open up to you and have these deep, perhaps thought-provoking conversations.
Yeah.
Maybe eye-opening, maybe just, again, something to chew on even, right?
Yeah.
Just, so, but I think I am down to pick this back up.
Yeah.
Friday
Friday?
or tomorrow or Friday. Honestly, it really depends on what time I get home. If we want to shoot for tomorrow.
Okay.
Today I was able to make it work because I left early because of my tire, which again, fortunately, nothing
Dude.
serious.
Yeah, I'm so glad because when you said like 1,000 per tire, I was gonna lose my mind,
But then
dude.
I over exaggerated. It was actually 1,000 for the set.
Yeah,
And then I was like, okay,
that's
manageable. But then it turned out that I don't have to spend anything at all. And I was like, yes,
that's good.
yes.
Jeez,
That
yeah,
was awesome.
dude. Oh shit, man. I was scared for
So
you. So scared for you.
yeah, I know. But like it's like not controllable, right? So like even
Yeah,
if it did happen where I have to, I'm like, oh fuck, it sucks. But like I have to do it, right? It is what it
yeah,
is. Not too upset about it. And fortunately I'm in the financial situation where I will be okay if that happens, right? So
yeah.
very grateful for that. So before we get off of this, or maybe
Mm.
I don't know, what do you think? Do you want me to, should I read the passage, the mini
Oh,
speech I made now,
yeah.
or should I start that off with Friday? What do you think?
Ooh,
Or
you know what? That'd be
I
really
think I
interesting.
do it today, actually. I think
Yeah.
let's do it today.
Okay.
Let's do it today.
Yeah.
So, um, only takes a few minutes anyway. So,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
let me kind of like set up. Um, I mean, obviously, I already told you in DM, but
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you
um,
share higher. But
I am gonna share this video, by the way,
oh,
so you're aware. So if you're uploading it on YouTube, it might be a better. You can hit me with a link. That'll be great if you plan to do
this
that.
one you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, this video. Yeah,
Right.
actually gonna show it to my sister.
Okay. That'd be great. We get her some insight.
Yeah, she says hi, by the way.
Oh, hey. Oh, she's doing great.
Okay, let me put some context behind this.
Okay, yeah.
So this is for work. So in the professional setting, uh, our organization, we do an all hands meeting annually, and it
Okay.
usually is like a 2-day long, about 5 to 6 hours each day of meeting. 60 or so people, and we'll call it 65 to 70 people.
Mm-hmm.
We get together and we spend the 2 days together, and we have different presenter to present different content. In fact, there's a strength assessment that we can talk about. We really have a lot of content to go through
Interesting.
between you and I. So I'll eventually we'll get to that. But it
Yeah.
is good stuff. It's pretty cool. So I want to talk about that too. So anyways, we are learning many different things. We have people who share what they are going through, some of the hardships that they're going through, and things like that. So just a mixed bag of things, and a lot of stuff has to do with success, of course, right? Because it is a professional meeting after all. So about success, about ownership, and things like that. And again, some individuals were being vulnerable and sharing their story and
That's awesome.
the things that they've gone through and how they've bounced back and things like that. And generally, everyone is expected to participate, to share feedback and key takeaways and what did you get out of it, kind of thing, right? And again, me and I'm playing it into my more soft-spoken kind of thing. I guess that's just my style, right? When I'm even knowing that I'm expected to participate and do that, I still like to take my time to put my thoughts together, and I like to make an impact, like I was saying earlier. And so knowing that I'm expected to participate, right, to give feedback and key takeaways and things like that, I took the time to put together a small, I'll say speech, but like really it's just my key takeaway. My intention was to be impactful, was to make an impression, to make also people feel good, right, to feel positive and things like that. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and go through it. And by the way, I asked the coordinator to pick on me.
Did you really?
Yes. Again, I was intentional with this, right?
Yeah.
I had a goal.
Okay.
So in the middle of the meeting today, I reached out to the coordinator and I said, hey, for the closing remark, I'd like to share my reflection. And we made it happen. I was the first one to share my takeaways and remarks during that. So, and I said, I wrote it, so it's going to sound robotic and things like maybe robotic. But here we go. So I said, hey, team, thanks for the time. This will always be challenging for me to summarize everything I learned, everything I heard, and everything I found inspiring when we get together like this. Because there is simply no way for me to encapsulate everything that was and will be profound during these meetings. To me, success is not a destination. Success is a journey. A journey that demands and unveils your true character. Among those essential character traits are resilience and perseverance. Resilience refers to one's ability to adapt to change, to learn, to have the mental and cognitive plasticity to do something perhaps you have never done before. Perseverance is the continuous effort to do something despite adversities, discouragements, and failures. Over the past 2 days, we lived vicariously through the courageous individuals who overcame life-changing hardships. It did 2 things for me. Number 1, I'm reminded of how grateful I am for my health and the health of my loved ones. Number 2, how fortunate and proud I am to share this team with all of you amazing people. So thank you. Thank you all for being vulnerable and willing to share. And most of all, I appreciate and am infinitely inspired by your resilience and perseverance.
That's good, man.
Well, thank you. I deliberately spend the time to put this together.
That's cool, man.
Some people were impressed by. Again, it's not for everyone, right? But for those who listen, who likes me, right? They liked it.
Well, there are people who didn't like it, like you.
I'm sure there are people, right? Because I mean, regardless of how you heard it, right? Well, let me get your opinion on it, right? Like, how did it sound?
It sounded sincere. Yeah.
Sounded sincere, right? But
yeah.
in a way, it also sounded like it was scripted, right?
I mean, in a way, I suppose. But how come you feel that way, though?
Because it is scripted.
Okay, right.
Well, it's just like I can see me talking similarly to how I wrote the thing, because that's just that. Those are just like those words are within my vocabulary. Obviously, I've used those words before, so you've heard me say all of those words before.
Yeah.
And you've heard me say things like this unscripted.
Yes. That's what I mean. That's why I feel that it's like, sure, you said it's scripted right now, but like all these things that you said that, I mean, yeah, I just know that that's just you. So I mean,
yeah, it's I mean it is authentically me, right?
Yeah.
That's without a doubt is authentically me. But I think the scripted part of it, like even if it's a little hint of it for some of us, right, who's like for those, again, we're talking about the US culture, how we're supposed to respond to speed and things like that. Like a scripted message like this doesn't really resonate with them. If that makes sense.
I see.
Right.
The fiery
And
ones.
that's what I meant.
Okay.
Not that I care. That's the thing, is I didn't care for that. I didn't care if they thought that way. My thing was, I want to be me. I want to say what I want to say, and I want to be impressive. I fully understand that I cannot impress everyone, and my aim wasn't to impress everyone.
Right. Honestly, it's to be like yourself, authentically self, and not a people pleaser. You will not make everybody happy, and that's just without a doubt. Yeah. I get it.
So yeah, that's what I wrote. I took the time to do it, and I had my goal, right, to impress, to be well spoken, to have my shit together. And I want to say I kind of practiced it a little bit, but I didn't really have to, because again, my intention going into it was to deliver an impactful message that people will appreciate, that is making a statement, that people will remember this. I'm the only person who did something like this, and that made me stand out for sure. Now, I haven't heard any actual feedback yet, but I'm sure people paid attention for one thing. I don't think people will forget about this.
Yeah.
Because it just sounded so like, it sounded polished. And I don't know, like how, well, I know what I think about this, but like, as I was reading that, how did you think about the pacing and the delivery and the pauses? Were they appropriate? Like all of that?
I definitely felt that what you mentioned before about the soft-spoken side of things, I definitely feel like that was in part of your speech as well. Like you said, that part of it wasn't Um, it does not have. It did not have the bravado that I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the feedbacks that you had from other people, and then, like you mentioned, the socially bravado of people. That that's what's acceptable. That's what
Yeah.
leadership looks like.
Nope. I didn't abide to that shit.
Right, exactly. You're just like, you don't know. Actually, I'm gonna be yourself. You're gonna be me, kind of thing. And then you you pulled that off, I think, very well. Um, Pacing wise, the way that you and I speak, the way you and I right now, we're still very much very soft spoken. I think. We do have a little bravado, sure, at times when we get passionate about a certain subject, you and I. But I think you could go a little faster. I feel like the way that you and I
Mhm.
talk right now. I feel like our pacing is a very much a conversational thing, right? And
Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's really depends on how you want to like show, you know, you know,
Oh, I definitely wanted to stand out.
yeah. Well, in that
So
case,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. So I think that pacing to be a little slower. I think definitely made people think and made people wait and like it's gonna hold on to it. Um, Me personally, I like a little more bravado. Not like crazy amounts, obviously. Like some people, like they're just like completely off the wall kind of thing. But like you and I right now, our energy, having our conversation about the stuff. I
Yeah. We are matching. We're just vibing.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like that. This is the kind of like energy that I would like. I think you have that, and when you deliver speech, I think you can do that too. But if that's not your intention, right? Then I get it.
No, my attention was to like I did it almost exactly the way that I just did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Like
definitely.
the
Yeah.
yeah, the pacing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Same, almost
Mm.
identical. And not a single mistake was made, not a single because scripted.
Yes. Okay.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and also by slowing it down, to your point, I allow people to take in what I'm saying, to
Mm-hmm.
chew on some of that stuff and not overwhelm them.
Gives them a moment to pause to think about what you said, kind of thing, kind of sink in, so to
Yep.
speak, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everything was very intentional.
Definitely. Um, and I get what you mean by that. I can see it from both sides. I can definitely see it from both sides, honestly, as well. And what you meant by that. So I still, in I think, well, the message across. Well, I think that was top notch. I think you definitely have gotten that point across and such. And it's very interesting that you had such a uh, wide range of feedback of like one says like, hey, you're not you're soft spoken, and the other one's like, yeah, you're really impressive and stuff like that. So it's like that's very interesting too.
Well, to be fair, I don't think even with the feedback, right? Like it's always somewhere in the middle, right? But
Mm,
and they're also not like exclusive, right? Like it's not like just because I'm soft spoken that they don't see me as impressive.
right, right,
If
oh,
that makes
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and, I have advocates. Again, the only person who really expressed the appreciation of me being he used a word to describe me on that, um like it's and then and then that's why that conversation I will always remember, is because again it's how you make people feel, how he made me feel when he said that. Like he
Mm-hmm.
noticed me in a very specific way. There was a word that had described that, like accurately, very accurately, like what it was. But anyways, yeah, I would never
Mm-hmm.
forget that conversation. Again, I have advocates on both parties. Is just listen, just because you have a feedback on something doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that like you're disqualified on automatically, especially if a negative one. It's very easy for us to kind of over emphasize, or you know what I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
on the criticism.
Yeah,
uh
criticism, yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they beat you down. And For me, it's like, well, that certainly is one way that I can improve. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But man, I know it's getting late. I feel bad, but again,
No.
going back to the strength thing that we did.
Okay.
One of the traits that I got, like number 2, so it was 34 different traits
Okay. Yeah.
that fall into 5 bigger categories. I would be lying if I said I remember all 5 of them. Anyways, one of the ones, my number 2. So my number 1 is analytic.
Yes,
My
that's
number
appropriate.
2, is maximizer.
Maximize. Yeah, that's 100% you. Yeah.
Maximizer. But how would you, like, if I, without any background, like what would, like, why maximizer? Like what do you think that is?
Me knowing you personally and how you play
Yeah.
RPGs and MMORPGs, 100% maximize it. You're looking for the top damage, the top hitter, the top heals, whatever the max is, you want that.
Yes. Yes. In terms of like the strength, I guess, whatever, professional setting or not, or like even personal, I truly answer probably half and half. Like when I answer this question, I have personal life in mind, also professional life in mind. So maximizer in that particular test meant that the individual excel in identifying strengths and building on said strength. And not
Yep.
just identify within oneself, but it's identifying the strengths in others as well.
Yeah.
That's why I'm the maximizer.
No, that makes a lot of
And
sense.
and it was pointed out that out of the 65 to 70 people, that I myself was the only one who had maximizer on top 5.
Yeah, I believe that.
And it was the number two trait for me. So yeah, so maximizer. This is what I do. I play to my strength. So again, it's about, okay, yes, I am definitely aware of my shortcomings and in what ways I can develop. I think it's great that I have that. In fact, you'll get probably, if you are able to make strides at developing your not so strengths, you definitely see a bigger return on investment. Yeah, that's what most people would think, and then I think that too, right? But man, does maximizing feel good?
Because it's the most efficient way of the way it you can it's one of those things that's like, for example, like me, I'm not cognitively going to be good at football. If I spent all my time and energy trying to be good at football, it's going to be wasted, versus if I spent all my time doing software development or something like that, or it's going to be way more efficient. It's going to feel way more natural and better, right? And it's probably for you too, like playing to your strengths. You're going to feel,
For me, it's fulfillment.
yeah, exactly. Fulfillment is a perfect word. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I find it way more fulfilling to do like, and that's the thing, is like I don't want to just maintain that level. Like I want to bring it up.
Yeah.
Like, if I was at a 9, I want at like an 11. And
Yeah.
and then the thing about it is I've found it to be helpful and useful, and I, of course, mix it in with other psychological things too, which again, psychology, like all the different things, and even Vanessa in the video have said, like, it can be used as a weapon, right? Like truly, like you could use this, you can use we can use everything that we know about psychology as a weapon of manipulation, right? We can. We always can. Think about, again, it's a tool, really. A gun is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you know, and again, I would use my maximizer trait. Like that's what I do. Like it is really what I do. And I also mix it in with the whole, you know, let the person step into the frame
Yeah.
concept. So I identify the strength and then I quickly do one more step beyond that to get a bigger push. One more story, and I promise I'll stop and we'll pick it up on Friday.
No, no, you're good. You're good. Take your time.
This one is, again, it's hilarious. At least to me, like it's so funny. Maybe a little bit egotistical, but funny as shit. So I am very close with my clients. And the other day, 2 days ago, yesterday. Yeah, she told me this yesterday. So maybe 2 days ago, she did the interview. Anyway, so she did an interview to fill a spot that she had to fill. And she interviews.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Part of the job. Okay, you know, pretty normal question. Nothing out of the blue. The second question, she started off by saying, "Hey, I have a." My second question is a personal question, and then, you know, my client, she was like, "Okay." You know, like, okay, well, you know, what is it?
Yeah.
You know, a little bit curious, a little bit uneasy, right?
Yeah.
And the interviewee asked, "Do you know this person and this person my name?"
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like, so, and then kind of give you the backstory is I was doing a store visit and I met with that individual who interviewed, and I suppose I left an impression.
Oh.
And that's why that was the question that was asked. Or perhaps I told her that I work out of the office and maybe
Mm-hmm.
she was trying to name drop or something. But either way, hilarious to me. Because my name was brought up and there was no context, by the way. Like it was just a yes no question, nothing further. Just nothing
Nice.
to expand on. So you know, my client was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And then that's it. That was the end of the conversation about
Oh.
do you know this person
Nice.
who was uh,
Nice. Nice.
oh my god.
That's fun.
Oh my god. So anyway, so I will be making fun of her. Not her, but my client.
Yeah.
So I'll bring that up and that will be our inside joke
Oh
for a
boy.
while.
Yeah. It's funny.
Personal question. Do you know?
Oh man.
Oh. Anyways, let's pick this up on Friday. We literally got through like 3
I
topics, not
know.
even.
I know. We barely got through much. I know. It's crazy.
But I think that's what these conversations are meant to be, right? It's meant for us to
Yeah.
think a little bit deeper, get a little bit deeper, way deeper, right? If you know,
Especially all these like relevant topics that are like a little bit like off, but still very relevant to yeah.
I
It's
mean,
good.
there's a lot of relatable things. And then that's why we have the notes that we have is because they are very relatable and um they're kind of close to us. They're happening to us kind of every day, or if not every day, there is a situation in which where this is relatable. Like again,
Yeah.
like how do people see you? How do you want to be seen? Kind of thing. Like I don't think people think about that often enough.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's also very nerve wracking to even think about that too. Actually, it's uh, to be honest, if I'm to be honest, like thinking about it is very nerve wracking. To be self conscious of it, it just makes it very hard sometimes. So I get it. I do.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I can see that totally because if it's especially if it's like the first time that you've ever thought about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing is, um, we were not kind of programmed to, we were never taught about this,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Uh,
Yeah.
and I think we should, right? I think again, if you think about that, just again going back to those two questions, man, like how, well, I guess three, like how do you think people see you?
Mm-hmm.
I think that has the probably the biggest impact. Follow very closely with how do you want people to see you?
Yeah.
Because one is going from present tense into future tense.
Yep.
And then for a little bit of confirmation, maybe do ask people close to you who knows you well, how do they actually see you
Mm-hmm.
first? And then you can kind of get an idea of you might be surprised by how you know the discrepancies between how you see yourself versus others sees you. So uh, great reflective questions to ask and to think about, and I think it helps to shape you and your opinion about yourself, and
Yeah.
also be ready if you're going to ask these kind of questions with friends, family, whoever. Be ready to be asked those questions too, like how do you see them in return.
Yeah.
uh Great conversation. So when you think about the next time you freeze up, right? uh
Hmm. That's a yeah.
Boom, right there, dude.
It's
Like
level
that's super deep.
level
It
3.
might make, yeah, definitely level three. Might make some people feel uncomfortable, but whatever.
I mean, yeah, it might. It's definitely one of those off script things. It's not a social scripted question, that's for sure. It's not how's the weather.
My prediction is that when you ask that question to someone like how do you think people see you, or yeah, I would say most of the time people don't think about it, so they would just say I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
actually.
but then you are, but then like they are thinking about it, and they will always they like at that from that moment forward they will think about
Yeah, probably.
it.
It may be a good or bad thing, depends on it. Are they your friend or are they your enemy?
Hey, it's whatever they look at it, right? However they look at it, their narrative about this is going
Yeah.
to determine if it's good or bad.
Yeah. No, that
So,
makes a lot of sense.
all right, I have kept you up in for long enough.
It's been good, man. Friday, dude. And then we can actually stay up longer on Friday if we get into like way longer conversations about stuff.
Yeah, so maybe plan. I mean, I think I'll be available earlier than tonight, for
Okay,
example.
cool. Yeah,
Um, yeah, so it's tough because one, we have a 3 hour difference
I
now.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, it
that's the most
sucks.
challenging part.
Ugh. Yeah, if you can get on earlier and stuff like that, that'd be really cool. And I feel like it sucks too because it's always earlier that people seem to like join in and stuff like that, and then we get into like the good bits and stuff like that like way later. I feel like sometimes, so then it doesn't give a chance for people if they want to like chat in or like ask a question or like
Yeah, for sure.
bring their stories up or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, that's okay because we can have separate conversations
Yeah,
with
I
those
mean,
people.
yeah,
Creates more touch points, right? More interaction.
yeah, it's true. It's true. So Friday we'll try for that, yeah?
Yeah, we'll try for that. I'll let you know kind of like around what time.
Okay.
I think I may be able to get on as early as like I don't know, like 5 your time, 5 p.m. your
So,
time.
okay. Yeah, that works actually. That's cool.
Yeah, so we'll see. But make sure you eat first though, so then you don't have a 10 o'clock dinner again.
Oh my god. I'm getting hungry now.
That
I'm
was,
gonna go ahead and something to snack on.
that was fun, eh? Yeah, 10 o'clock dinner.
Holy crap, that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
All right, man.
all right, my guy.
I'll catch you Friday.
I'll see you later, man.
See ya.